All right, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Some of you, good evening. Welcome, everybody. This is the ambassador hosted community meeting, and we're going to open up the mics for Q&A towards the end. Right now, it's just push to talk, and everyone should have come in probably muted. But we'll open up the floor for Q&A after this. We'll try to keep it moving and make it not take too terribly long. But thanks, everybody, for coming. And let's get started. And does anybody mind giving me a check in the community chat, just saying they can hear me? Okay, cool, perfect. All right, well, let's get started. Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm gonna get on to our next slide here. Oh, by the way, I'm sharing my screen for everyone to watch. We have a presentation that is being presented, so and if you just focus on my screen, you'll get to see it. Just some graphics and visual stuff, some cues, just as we're going. All right. And today, here's some key points we're going to hit. We're going to start off talking about October just a little bit. We have a bunch of things we're planning, so we're going to talk about a couple things. Some recent community updates and changes, including the leveling system and whatnot. The ambassador program, we want to touch on that a little bit and just some of the things we're looking for. The bounties changes and future plans. New learning newsletters are going to have Miguel come up and talk about that and the dev update summary and some coming plans. And then after that, we're going to open up the floor to Q&A, try and answer everybody's questions the best we can. All right, October special events and rewards. Okay, so October is spooky and so are we. And so we're going to do a month-long meme contest for the whole month, and we're going to triple the meme pot. So for every entrant that enters into the meme contest, it's going to be 30 Sarco added to the pot instead of the normal 10 that we were doing for this month. And we're going to throw out an announcement about that here pretty quick and get it rolling. I just wanted to let everybody know in the meeting first. And we're going to try and theme it with October or Halloween, but we'll definitely release some specifics on it real soon. And the other thing here is for this meeting, everybody who attends is getting a 500 XP bonus in the Discord. I'm going to take attendance towards the end, just to kind of like make sure people who fully participated get the credit. So this will be getting some XP bonus for all that. All right, and it has some community updates and changes here. All right, so the community activity rewards are planned, and you've probably seen the leveling system. Right now we have Bedouin, Magi, Vizier, and Pharaoh. Right now we're in the process of expanding this leveling system. We're getting close to finishing the expansion. We just want to make sure everything's balanced good and that it'll all work. One of the small changes that we've instituted is users are now commoners. The original idea with the original like Egyptian culture was people were actually called peasants. So I saw someone questioning why users are now commoners, and it was the best term we could come up with that wouldn't like offend anyone. But that that may end up getting changed. We may have to change it back to user. But for now, we're using commoner because it's a little less offensive than calling someone a peasant. Um, progression is based in the system on earning XP through interactions. So, any kind of posts or in the chat and whatnot will give you XP. The longer your chat is, like your individual post is, the more XP you gain from it. I'm not sure what the relation is between like memes and photos to normal posts. But yeah, all posts get you XP. And I did a test on it. The reacting to posts doesn't actually give you experience. I thought it did, but it doesn't. So I took that part out. And then spam, of course, is unwelcome and it's deleted, muted, or banned, depending on individual case. For the spam, we don't want to just mute or ban everyone. So yeah, just no spamming, please. Which is repetitive messages. I've seen stuff like somebody saying hello in every single channel just to get the XP. Stuff like that is still spamming, so that's not welcome. All right. Rewards. The reward pool that we're doing for the leveling system is going to be kind of a mix. Right now, we're looking at doing Sarco for the lower levels, and then possibly NFTs, and maybe even awarding some Discord roles with that have special permissions, stuff like that. Like possibly once you get into the higher tiers, might actually have some of the modding abilities for the community. So you'd be able to actually, like if something happened, you'd be able to help keep the community kind of clean and whatnot. And that is something helpful that we want to add. All right, the ambassador program overview and changes. Okay, so our program purpose is to increase community involvement with the project. That was the primary goal of everything when we built it. And we wanted to just basically create like a user base that where a place for people to kind of come together and work together. And we built it kind of democratically. So most of the decisions are based on voting of some sort. And we make sure everyone's kind of in agreement when we do everything. And of course, continuously expanding the community. That's the big goal. And then we want everyone to be like helping educating each other and what a dead man switch actually is and what it does. That's kind of what we aim at. And then we want to create informational material related to that and the protocol, like such as graphics, videos, articles, social media posts, and even possible collaborations with other projects. As we've mentioned, we've worked on a couple different collabs, just kind of trying to get the word out there, get people intrigued about the idea. So that's stuff that we're always looking to do, always trying to make those connections. And then let's see here. Leveling requirements. Okay, well, the requirements for becoming a candidate is, apply with the form that it's pinned in the Discord. Also, we try to circulate it as much as we can. The form's also on the sarcophagus.community website. The form just kind of helps us keep everything organized and whatnot, keeping everybody's applications in one place. The next requirement is once you become a candidate, we require everyone now to achieve level 5 in the Discord. This just guarantees that people are at least doing some kind of minimum interaction within the Discord, because everything in our community has been kind of centered around the Discord. We do a lot on Twitter too, but the actual like center of the community has been more on Discord. So we want to promote activity there as much as we can, just to kind of keep this growing and keep it active. And of course, be active interactions in the community and the project. That's kind of the main goal here, is just getting everybody to stay active and kind of trying to make it enjoyable. That's why we're bringing in the leveling system. We are going to have some rewards and whatnot associated, like I mentioned, and we're working pretty hard on that to get it all worked out. Haven't fully decided everything, but we have a pretty good plan right now that we're almost ready to put in place, but we just are doing a couple finishing touches on it to make sure it's all kosher. And then I want to touch on bounties here a little bit. As everybody knows, we no longer are taking translations for bounties until we have a solid vetting process. New submission process for articles will be probably instated as well. Right now, we are redoing the bounties, and we have mostly finished them. We are just going through a couple details, making sure that it's going to work. I'm setting up a new process for vetting articles with Miguel, USC Miggs. He's our editor, and he has decided that he's going to be a big part of going over these articles. So we're going to be looking at that and making sure that that's a viable process. And as far as translations go, we don't actually have we're not equipped quite yet to do translations. We do want to do them, and it is like a valuable part of the information getting out there is having it in different languages. But right now we don't have proper resources to do it, and then to vet the translations that we get to make sure that they're accurate based on that particular language. And then we also have a couple other bounties in the works, and one specific large bounty in the works for development and sarcophagus improvement proposals. This would be something that would most likely be linked to the GitHub. It would be like you would submit an improvement proposal for the protocol, and then the devs themselves would actually vet the submission and something along those lines. So that's a process we're still kind of working out. We need to be sure that we can well outline what we're asking for, especially with development, because we don't want we don't want people not really knowing what we're looking for with development, because it can be kind of complicated. So we got to make sure it's all very easy to understand and outlined, so we don't get any kind of extra complications there with people creating things that might not work or might not be exactly what we're looking for. But that is in the works. And now we're getting to new learning content and newsletters. I'm going to let Miguel take the mic here, USC MIGS. He handles this stuff mostly. He's our editor, as I mentioned, and he is going to cover this part. Okay. Well, while he's trying to get his mic working,
I can talk about a few things. I have some stuff written down for it.
Okay. Let me see here. I have the stuff too, so no worries if you can't get his mic working. New learning content and newsletters. Okay, so new learning content and newsletters. We got 2 articles coming out each month now. One technical article, which will be either development updates from like the team, from the devs, or it might be like tutorials, stuff to do with how to like set up Archaeologist using the embalmer tomb and different things. And then we're going to also have one community update at the end of the month. That's going to be about different things that we've been doing in the community and centered more around that. If there's any specific content you'd like to see, please make a recommendation and we can highlight it in the monthly updates. As I said, USC MIGS, he's our editor, so you can contact him or any one of the ambassadors if there's something you'd like to see or you think would be a good idea for the monthly updates. We're always open to suggestions. And we are also planning learning workshops and community topic discussions. Quick Change has started creating some videos on the Archaeologist servers that are super helpful for people trying to set them up. He's done a couple of them now, one a while back and then one more recently that's got some that goes with some of the updated stuff they've done with the arches. And he's looking at opening some learning workshops and community topic discussions just to help people with trying to get set up and getting moving with the nodes. All right, and then development updates. There's been some user experience improvements. The file size that you can use in the tomb has been increased to 2.9 megabytes. The code base has been updated to the TypeScript style code base, and they've updated the tomb site better to aesthetically flow, and just kind of everything matches a little better. Let's see here. And then we've got some plans. Closing out V1 of Sarcophagus, they want to do a code base audit. And we're also looking at governance staking reward systems right now. They have a pretty good idea of how they want to make it work. So it is possible to be starting in development soon, but we haven't gotten official word on it, just that it is in planning right now. And then bringing on V2, got a lot of enhancements they want to do. They're looking at different L2 rollups that would do all sorts of things, from making it more efficient, making it cheaper. And there's a lot of options out there for rollups, so they're looking at different ones and trying to figure out which one would be the best suit for Sarcophagus. They have a couple in mind, but they haven't made a decision on which one yet. They're looking at a multi-curse architecture to allow for selecting multiple or a pool of archaeologists for the resurrection. Right now, the point of that people have made a couple times is that, if an archaeologist goes down and he's not available during your resurrection time, the file won't get resurrected, and then it's kind of lost. So this design of pooled archaeologists or a multi-curse architecture would prevent that from being an issue. Your file would still get resurrected in the case that a singular archaeologist went down. And another thing we're looking at is creating a secondary market for archaeologists to sell resurrection rights to their sarcophagi that they manage to another archaeologist. So say an archaeologist wants to go offline, but of course he has a bunch of different sarcophagi that he manages. This would be a way for him to make sure that those sarcophagi are still managed properly, without causing any issues for the people that these sarcophagi belong to. Their files still get resurrected. So this would allow him to sell basically the rights to resurrect those. So he'd be selling his rights to the bounties, fees, and his responsibility to resurrect those files to another archaeologist. So it would be a way for people to stop being a node as an archaeologist without causing problems for the people that have files on that arch node. So really cool concept that they're talking about putting in, that would save a lot of issues and make sure that files get where they need to go.
Hey, Johnny, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Just trying to figure out the push to talk thing for a second, but
Oh yeah, if there's anything you want to add to this, please feel free to go jump in here real quick. Sorry I covered it for you.
no, I appreciate it. No, the only other things I was going to say was that, with, as you can see, what we're trying to do with the Medium publication is try to have a real formal way to basically voice out the up and coming things for the project. So we just want to make it visible to you guys that things are in motion, things are happening, document it, make it available, make it into a forum that you guys can share via social media or otherwise, any other methods that you'd like to spread the information. But the key thing with the Medium publication with the community updates and developer updates is to basically help create a way to easily spread information about the progress of the project. That way everybody's informed. We can keep it in a solid place. And then in addition, as Johnny mentioned earlier about the bounties, about the article publications, there's going to be a subsection if you go to the actual Medium community page where we're going to have community write-ups. So when we come up with a process, which we're going to let out pretty soon, if your article is vetted enough and we find it in good quality and it's got good material, we'll be publishing it to there. So details on that to come out soon. But ultimately, yeah, we're just trying to keep everybody abreast to what's coming in new with the project. So that's pretty much all I got left to add.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And then the last little thing before Q&A that we wanted to touch on here was wanted to show everybody this for those who might have missed it. It's been announced on Twitter, and we've said a few things here in the Discord that right now we're doing just an artistic collab with Spooky Sols. I see Quarter Chap dropped into our general chat. He's from Spooky Sols. And it's been a really fun process. This is one of the concept art pieces, probably not the final piece, but it gives you a good idea of what we've been working on. And this is going to get released at some point in October, the final version, and then that'll be out. And of course, we're always working, finding cool stuff to do. So. All right, I guess let's see. That about does it. If we want to open up the floor for Q&A, I'm sure people have a few questions. I want to make sure I got my attendance taken here. Oh, and just let everyone know it's on push to talk right now. If anybody has any problems unmuting, just let me know.
While that's going on, there were some questions that were provided in the AMA channel as well, and we can go over those. So one of the first questions that was asked was, what projects will you work with? So it just so happened that Spooky Sols reached out. We spoke to Spooky Sols. We just happened to be working on something similar. So that was a project we were working on. I think the community really is going to decide this. I think it makes sense to have something that is related to Sarcophagus, and in this case, this pharaoh is exactly that, and it's perfect for the month of October. And that's what we're going to look for in the future. So it depends on what the project is. We'd like to continue to promote a project that will focus on what Sarcophagus does, right? If it is a protocol that is more along the lines of being open, trying to help everyone decentralized. Those are things that we're looking to continue to do. But again, this is the community, right? So we are all going to decide. You get this. You get a say, and we're just going to look to see and do the best we can to promote things that we are all about. And you can keep asking your questions. If you don't want to ask them, you can type them, and we'll get to them. So there's another question. Are you planning to sell Sarco on CoinList? With Sarco, right? All the coins were minted at once. So this is for any question about selling or creating anything where someone gets someone can purchase themselves. Anything that occurs where someone wants to buy Sarco, you can either get it through the various exchanges, or you can go through Uniswap, Zapper. It's listed on Argent. You can go through any of those locations to get them. Anything where someone is trying to buy or purchase, that will need to be put up to the DAO, right? We don't decide. It is everyone who's holding a Sarco token has the ability to vote and decide if you want to allow someone to do that. Someone can come in and say they have, $1 and they want to buy Sarco directly from the minted area. It has to go through a vote, right? It can be $1, it can be $100 million. It doesn't matter. It needs to be voted on. You don't get to just come in and say, hey, give me. No one's going to come in here and say that you can buy the tokens just because you want to and try to get at a cheaper price. It has to be put up to the DAO to be voted on.
Okay, and someone just asked a question. Heard there'll be L2 solutions. What are we thinking? They're looking at different L2 solutions for both the tomb and for just the whole, or mainly just for the whole protocol in general, something possibly more economic and efficient to run on. But while they're finishing V1, they haven't made a solid decision on which one they're going to use yet. V1 probably will not have an L2 solution. Their focus for V1 is getting the code base finished up, like making sure that the protocol runs autonomously without help and there's nothing going on there. And then aesthetics, the little small tiny things at the end of it, if you will, they're making sure all that's buttoned up and finished. Then once they get into the V2 version and start building out that with the multi-curse architecture and the different features they want to add for V2, then they're going to start looking at L2 solutions more in depth and figuring out which one exactly works for our protocol and what's the most efficient and what works best for the users that are using it to swap over to, because there will probably be some kind of transition period there once an L2 is actually instated. So I hope that answers your question.
I'll just quickly add on to that too, Johnny, is that, like Johnny was saying, so V1 is currently designed and built on top of Ethereum Layer 1. And from what the devs have told us in the past, I may be putting words in their mouth, but the is that V2 will be in a Layer 2 rollup. So expect in the future when they start working on developing Layer 2, the V2 solution, that it will be on a Layer 2. So that is definitely the plan that the project's going to be moving towards.
With the expense of the L1 for Ethereum kind of rising with the increase in NFT production, the whole L2 idea has become more prevalent, that's for sure.
And there's a couple questions that are related to this L1, L2. Why isn't the coin on a different chain? When can we be listed on a SEX? So here's the deal: the anytime that a coin gets listed on a centralized exchange, they look for money up front to be listed on those exchanges. As of right now, there's no reason to do that. And when if there is a time where that ever happens, I think it kind of defeats the purpose of a decentralized dead man switch if you're listing it on a centralized exchange. But then the other part to that is people are looking for a cheaper decentralized exchange. So yes, while it may be harder to buy from decentralized exchange, that's partially what is on the Ethereum chain. It's all the contracts, all the events that are going on. There are definitely I ask that if you're going to buy from a DEX, you do it at a time where there's not many people. You can check the gas online where you can buy it cheaper. I've seen people say they're looking at a couple $100 for this, and then I was able to go through and look at it and see purchase coins for $20. So that's something else. And then the L2, the layer 2 will actually help that. It'll reduce cost as well. So you have that'll also help combat those. And then there's another question, and then you can jump in, Johnny. There's other questions about rewards and questions about ambassadors. I just want to take them all in one. For ambassadors, we're always looking to add people to the group. People are asking, how do you do that? It is doing the same things that have been going on, providing an article, providing a video, providing either a tutorial video or a video to help Sarcophagus. But really the big thing is that we're looking for quality, right? We want it to be good. We would rather you provide us one good video than 10 videos where you didn't put much time into it. We're looking for quality. And when that comes up and people do provide that, it's immediately seen. Everyone who's in the chat can see that. And there's a lot of communities to manage. So that's just something we just want to put out there. And then for the last pieces, there's questions about early adopters receiving awards or gifts. That's going on right now. If you are in the liquidity mining or liquidity farming, in a year, those things are only up for a year. It's more than halfway through the mining and a few months in the farming. After a year, those are going away. That is the ability to jump into those and receive those awards or gifts for being an early adopter. That's what it's out there for, because you're providing that liquidity.
To add to that, as far as the early adopters go, there was, and I've gotten this question recently, way back when the original website was launched, there was a form that you could fill out to get the Embalmer or Archaeologist grants, or both. And I've been asked by someone who's filled out those forms in the past, because those forms no longer exist, if the people who filled those out will be getting those grants. And as far as I understand, the model they're looking at for like Embalmer reimbursement would be looking at everyone who has actually used the tomb, and then trying to do some kind of reimbursement or reward based on that. That way it's only the actual users and not just people, just saying, hey, I want this. Now, will those original applications be included? Probably, but they may look at the activity related to the applying addresses. I'm not sure. So just a little addition to that they are looking at doing like an Embalmer reward program. They just haven't quite worked out the details on it yet. And then Quarter Chat posted a question: could another archaeologist not pick up where they left off if the original one went offline? The current setup, no. When you curse an archaeologist, you are entering into a contract on the Ethereum blockchain with that archaeologist. Those contracts, as far as I understand, cannot be changed once they are generated. Like once you create a contract, it is secured and immutable. So there can't be any changes made to that contract once it's produced, once it has been put on the blockchain. So no, to answer your question, just simply no. And the archaeologist can't pass off the contract in the current form because it is written to be secured to a single archaeologist. But that's why they're looking at doing the multi-curse architecture, so that you could have a contract that includes multiple archaeologists with, say, a primary archaeologist, and then if that one goes offline, then it passes down to a secondary and so forth, depending on how the contract is set up.
Yeah. It's your curse architect archaeologist system is definitely going to be something to help out and kind of or iron out those wrinkles. Sorry, to kind of get us to that next level. So, part of the community and for all of us is to kind of help grow. Is also, as you use the system itself, help provide feedback.
All right, I have taken attendance. Do we have any more questions? One last thing for everyone that's here. There is going to be there is a planned AMA on the 9th. Zach should be there and possibly some of the other devs as well. So look forward to that. We're trying to make up a poster for it now so that we can start promoting it. We didn't want to promote it at the same time that we promoted this meeting because there's already a little confusion having two of them being promoted at the same time. So we tried to kind of focus on this one. And then now that we have a week till the next one, we're going to start putting out graphics and stuff and letting the community know a little more loudly that, hey, the devs are going to be available on the 9th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to ask them questions and whatnot. And that's what the AMA questions channel is for. Questions that get dropped in there. I mean, ones that are more pointed towards the devs, that's better for them to answer. We're going to bring those questions to them and probably have a Q&A as well afterwards. But with that, I don't see any more questions in chat. I think that just about does it, guys. You guys have anything else?
And one question, because I'm skip first part you speech. I have a question about when begin new bounty, when start a new task. I don't know, some new, and when people can make some Sarc or some I don't know, some tokens.
Well, as we mentioned, we are working on reinstating the bounties. The meme contest is going to be released here in the next day or so. We're going to kickstart that again, and it's going to have a triple pot on it. The bounties, we're trying to bring them back in quickly. We should actually be putting up a vote for reinstating them here soon. Reinstating or not instating them. We redid them so that basically we're requiring quality. We had a lot of submissions that, because we left things kind of loose and allowed people to basically self-govern themselves on their submissions, we got a lot of stuff that it was about Sarcophagus, but it was like some of it was only loosely about the project, some of it was copy and pastes, some of it was so poorly worded it couldn't even be read. So we had to refine our bounty program to exclude those things because they're not actually doing a whole lot of good for the community. We've kept track of the program and how much actual engagement it's created, and like the different articles and what has worked and what hasn't. And in the couple months that we've had it, we've figured out that we have to stick to quality, or we're not really getting anything back for the community out of it. So that's why we took it down, and we are bringing it back most likely. Like I said, we have to pass a vote on it because it uses our budget. So anything that uses the community ambassador budget, we have to vote on and all agree to. And we're trying to run the community ambassadors the same way the DAO is ran. Like, we want everything to be as decentralized as we can make it. So these decisions do take a little time. It requires everybody's input, and everybody has to agree to it in the end. So I apologize. They've been closed for almost a week, but we should be bringing them back soon if they get approved.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, no problem, man. Any other questions?
Maybe you should change bounty. Different for candidates bounty and different for all participation for other people.
And that's something we could explore in the future. We're trying to build out each program by starting with a baseline that works, like just baseline bounties. We have discussed creating two separate bounty systems, one for in the server, so people can do, say, I mean, just for example, like do in-server bounties where they can earn experience, and then have bounties outside like we had already that earn Sarco. Now, it's kind of difficult separating the candidates from everyone else because anyone really can be a candidate. So it's a matter of earning that level 5 to stay a candidate, and so far that's the only requirement we have to remain a candidate. We may come up with some more specific bounties for candidates, but that may also go along the lines of doing more in-server bounties. But that's something we haven't really gotten to yet because we're still trying to establish our baseline of having just a solid bounty program, and then once we get that, we're going to start adding to it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the questions. Do we have any more questions? All right, everyone. Well, thanks for coming and appreciate the questions. And all of you have a lovely day or evening, whichever it is for you. And look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you.